The Disappearance of Bethany Porter, a twisted true crime mystery. Bethany Porter was a night owl by necessity, not by choice. At 34 years old, she worked the overnight shift as a nurse in the small town of Ridgewood, Maine. While most of the world slept, Bethany cared for patients in the dim, quiet halls of St. Michael's Hospital. It was a grueling job, but she found solace in her routines, the cup of coffee she brewed at midnight, the playlist of soothing piano music she played on her breaks, and the sense of purpose her work gave her. Bethany lived alone in a modest apartment on the outskirts of town, sharing her space only with a cantankerous cat named Jasper. Her life was predictable, uneventful. But all of that changed on the night of September 8, 2016. That was the night Bethany disappeared. The first sign of trouble. Bethany's shift had ended at 7 a.m., and she was seen leaving the hospital by several co-workers. She waved goodbye, walked to her car in the employee parking lot, and drove off into the early morning fog. Her landlord, Mr. Callahan, was the first to notice something was wrong. Bethany always returned home by 7:30 a.m., without fail. But that morning, her car wasn't in the lot. By evening, her absence was impossible to ignore. Her mailbox overflowed with junk mail, her apartment lights remained off, and Jasper's distressed yowling could be heard through the door. Mr. Callahan contacted the police, who arrived to perform a welfare check. Inside, they found Bethany's apartment untouched. Her purse, work badge, and keys were missing, but there were no signs of a struggle. The only unusual detail was a sticky note on her refrigerator, written in Bethany's neat handwriting. "They're watching me." A haunting trail of clues. Bethany's disappearance baffled investigators. She was a beloved nurse with no known enemies, no significant debt, and no history of mental illness. Her family, co-workers, and friends described her as reliable, compassionate, and level-headed. But as detectives dug deeper, they uncovered a chilling series of events leading up to her vanishing. 3 weeks earlier, Bethany had confided in a coworker, Sarah, about a series of unsettling experiences. She claimed she had been receiving anonymous phone calls late at night. The caller never spoke but remained on the line, breathing heavily. At first, Bethany thought it was a prank, but the calls grew more frequent and more disturbing. One night, she heard faint whispers on the other end of the line. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was sinister. Bethany also mentioned noticing small but unsettling changes in her daily life. Her mailbox was left open when she was certain she'd closed it. Items in her apartment seemed slightly out of place. And twice, she swore she saw a figure standing across the street, watching her window. Sarah urged Bethany to go to the police, but Bethany brushed it off, saying she didn't want to seem paranoid. The investigation deepens. Detectives traced Bethany's route from the hospital to her apartment. Surveillance footage showed her car passing a traffic camera at 7:12 a.m., just minutes from her home. But she never made it there. Her car was found 2 days later, abandoned on a rural road about 10 miles from Ridgewood. The driver's seat was pushed far back, as if someone taller than Bethany had been behind the wheel. Inside the car, they found her phone, wiped clean of data, and a crumpled piece of paper with the words, "You're next." The road where her car was found was desolate, bordered by dense woods. Search teams combed the area but found no trace of Bethany. A sinister connection. The case took a chilling turn when investigators linked Bethany's disappearance to a series of unsolved crimes in the region. Over the past decade, 4 other women, all in their 30s, all living alone, had vanished under similar circumstances. Each woman had reported feeling watched in the weeks before they disappeared. Anonymous phone calls, strange notes, and signs of someone entering their homes were common threads. And like Bethany, all four women had left behind cryptic messages hinting at their fears. The most disturbing connection. Each disappearance occurred almost exactly 5 years apart. The psychological terrors. As the investigation gained media attention, new information surfaced. A man named Victor Delaney, a former patient at St. Michael's Hospital, came forward with a disturbing claim. Victor, a paranoid schizophrenic, told police he recognized the phrase, "They're watching me." He said it was the calling card of a group he called the Shadows, a clandestine organization he believed was responsible for stalking and abducting people. Victor's story was dismissed as delusional rambling, but his descriptions were eerily specific. He spoke of men in black coats, intricate symbols etched into hidden places, and a methodical process of psychological torment designed to break their victims. Then came the most shocking revelation. Victor had been treated at St. Michael's during Bethany's shift. He claimed she had been kind to him, often sitting by his bedside during her rounds. A terrifying discovery. On October 31, 2016, 53 days after Bethany vanished, a hiker stumbled upon an abandoned bunker deep in the woods near Ridgewood. Inside, investigators found evidence of someone living there recently: a cot, empty food containers, and a journal. The journal's contents were horrifying. Written in a shaky hand, it described weeks of captivity, psychological torture, and a chilling phrase repeated over and over, "They're in my head." On the final page, the writer identified themselves as one of the earlier missing women, Claire Mathis. She wrote, "If you find this, you're already too late. They don't just take you, they make you disappear." No human remains were found in the bunker, but blood traces matched Bethany's DNA. A twisted ending. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Bethany Porter's case remains unsolved. Theories abound. Some believe a single, sadistic predator is behind the disappearances, while others think it's part of a larger conspiracy. The shadows, whether real or imagined, have become a symbol of fear in Ridgewood. To this day, locals avoid the woods, claiming to hear whispers among the trees. Bethany's family continues to search for answers, haunted by the question, was she the victim of a methodical killer, or something far more terrifying? Thank you for watching and listening. Liking and subscribing is very much appreciated.